We see no virtue in perpetual antagonism between the United States and Cuba. Our concern relates above all to Cuba's export of revolution.
On March 1st, 1975, U.S. Secretary of State Henry Kissinger made a surprising announcement.
We have taken some symbolic steps to indicate that we are prepared to move in a new direction if Cuba will.
It was the era of U.S.-Soviet détente, and President Gerald Ford moved to normalize relations with Cuba and to end the 15-year-old U.S. economic embargo.
What would you like Americans to know about you and Cuba? And could you possibly say it in English so they could understand?
In English. I am not well in English.
What could then in Spanish?
Good wish for the people to the United States.
Good wishes.
Wish of understanding. Wish of friendship. I understand it is not easy because we belong to two different worlds. But we are vecinos, ¿cómo se dice?
Neighbors.
We are neighbors. And in one way or another, we ought to live in peace. United States and Cuba.
That fall, the State Department announced Cuba and the United States were ready to begin an official dialogue. But all along, Fidel Castro had had his eye on a situation developing half a world away, preparing Cuba for its first large-scale war. In West Africa, the Portuguese colony of Angola, about to become independent, was fast sliding into civil war. The Marxist Movement for the Liberation of Angola, the MPLA, asked Castro for military assistance to fight against its rivals, backed by South Africa. Fidel Castro faced a tough choice: intervention in Angola or rapprochement with the United States. On November 7th, 3 days before Independence Day, Cuban troops arrived in force. The U.S. government was caught by surprise.
The rapprochement or normalization with the United States was derailed. He placed a higher priority on his internationalist revolutionary objectives than on better relations with the United States.
¿Qué clase de condiciones pretende el imperialismo establecer a nuestro país? Ejercemos nuestra solidaridad con Angola, estamos ayudando a Angola y seguiremos ayudando al pueblo de Angola.
By January 1976, there were 15,000 Cuban troops in Angola, armed and supplied by the Soviet Union.
First, my biases on the Cuba issue. One, I've always felt that the embargo has not worked. Sure, you want to get something in return for lifting it. Secondly, I've always believed that engaging, especially a country in our hemisphere that has caused us so many difficulties in terms of our image in Latin America, that we should, for the sake of improving our image in Latin America and our interests, that it makes sense to normalize relations with Cuba. I think the first major step that should be taken by the Obama administration is to get rid of the travel ban, and then focusing the next efforts on allowing academics, medicine, sports, culture, arts, the free flow of travel. How do we normalize relations with Cuba? After my trip, I looked at the big issues that divide us. The embargo, shutting down Guantanamo, finding some of the Radio Marti, TV Marti people, what the Cubans want is obviously to shut them down. Issues relating to the Cuban Five, the reciprocal proposal, or the Cuban proposal that you release the five and political prisoners will flow. Those are the bigger issues that divide us. My view is that you take smaller incremental steps before you deal with those broad issues. Because after 47 years of bad relationships, embargoes, mistrust, I found the atmosphere of the Cubans good. They like President Obama. They like the new tone. They like the fact that in front of the U.S. Embassy in Cuba, they don't have those, I don't know what the word is, the billboards that they found offensive. They like those little gestures. What do the Cubans need to do? Well, this is what I found, and I told the Cubans, you need to do something. You're just kind of waiting and not doing much on your side. What are you going to do? I think the mistake we would make is to say there's got to be a quid pro quo for everything, like simultaneous gestures. So the simultaneous gestures shouldn't be the policy. It should be gestures of trust that are sequential, that happen. But I think the Cuban-American community is changing.